What I want to do for you right now, because I want to calm down, since I've been up for 2 nights, you'll have to forgive me. I don't think I'm making a mistake. I'm telling you, like, from the bottom of my heart what I feel, and you know that. I'm going to play for you something interesting. I was up 6 in the morning today. I did a couple of radio shows, and one of them was really superb. Laura Ingraham is syndicated by the same syndicator, Talk Radio Network, and we had a very, very good, well, listen to clip 1.
Michael, congrats on yet another book. I mean, you lay out 37 points, but I'm just glad to be able to talk to someone who's banned, because I've done everything I can to get banned, still haven't gotten banned. It's a bummer.
I think I can help you. I have a few friends in low places in England who might help you get banned, Laura.
Yeah, what's the latest on that, by the way, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the book? By the way, it's up on lauraingraham.com.
Laura, listen, it got worse under Cameron, the pseudo-conservative of England. I waited a year with legal wrangling, and then I was told, well, when the conservatives come in, they'll take your name off the list because they're against this list.
Yeah.
It got worse. My lawyers in England got a letter from them saying there's nothing he can do that we would guarantee we'd take his name off the list. Basically, go to hell. They're far worse than the liberals were. I've never seen anything like this.
Well, again, in Canada, we have what amounts to an enforced principle of community, right? I mean, you offend in Canada, you're put on trial. Like you apparently say anything that offends the politically correct sensibility in Britain, and you can get put on that list. Where does it end? Where does that end?
It's amazing to me how the thought police have emerged, and the liberals who are imposing the thought police were the very liberals who opposed the thought police 30 years ago. How is it that now that they have power, they are the very thing that they said they feared? How is that possible, Laura?
Well, they never believed in free speech in the first place. They believed in their speech, like the dictators that they admire. It was never about free speech. That was the biggest lie that they ever put forth.
I don't want to keep hacking the book, but the fact is, Obama's inclinations are in the same direction. You know that the people surrounding him are all neo-fascist liberals, and that's quite a combination there. You know that they'd like to turn down talk radio. They like to turn off the Internet. You know that the only reason Obama is so unpopular is because we point out who this man actually is, what his roots are, who his czars are, where he's taken us, where he wants to go, his attack on the middle class, how he's impoverishing the society. But think about this. Think about if he could have no opposition in the media. What would stop him from imposing his dimmest view of society? I mean, nothing would stop him.
No, that's why it's so critical that everybody who has a voice in this country, or anyone, any average working person, citizen, that everyone understands that you got to protect free speech. I mean, speech that you disagree with, speech that you agree with, because the first time that they have unbridled power, they will move to restrict speech. They've tried it. They've tried to move in that direction, and basically they were slapped down, but there's always tomorrow for them.
In the beginning of the Obama administration, remember when Obama and his friends tried to talk about the fairness doctrine when they were full of their confidence before they slipped and fell when people saw who they really were? I mean, it was Nancy Pelosi with the hammer, boasting on the steps of Congress after forcing Obamacare down America's throat. You remember how she arrogantly strutted around with that big hammer? She was the reason that Americans finally woke up to how bad this gang is. And she was one of the principal movers behind the push for the fairness doctrine. So you say, well, that's all over now because they're in decline. It's not over until it's over.
No.
And the fact is I'm not so sure they're going to lose that 50 to 100 seats. I'm not so sure the Republicans are going to get their power back. But what's even worse, Laura, is that some of the Republicans were also in favor of the fairness doctrine. You're aware of that, I'm sure, correct?
Oh, yeah. Well, the Republican elites who always thought that the heavy hand of government had its proper place.
Well, that's what I'm afraid we're going to get when K Street comes back in full force. I mean, you're closer to the eye of the monster than I am. But, when I have to go to this Trickle Up Poverty. It's not just about the economy. It's about how Obama is impoverishing every aspect of our society. Laura, I've tried to ask myself, am I demonizing this man? Is he as bad as I think? Am I projecting negativity on him? Is it based on racism? No, I mean, I've explored this in myself. And you know what I come up with? He's actually worse than I fear. If you actually evaluate the patient, you find that he's far worse than I fear. He is truly a Marxist Frankenstein, Laura.
A friend of mine last night, or no, not last night, a couple nights ago, who, believe it or not, worked in the Clinton administration, asked me, Michael, why is it that you people, do you people hate Obama more than Clinton? If so, why? And how would you answer that?
I don't hate Obama. That's
it's
the
not
funny
about
part.
hate. That's what I said.
No,
I said it's not about
see,
hate.
that's what they do. They immediately categorize political opposition to hate in order to gain
speech.
control.
Yeah.
Right. In order to gain control of the argument, they're making you into a bad person for opposing his policies. But it's his policies that we're against, not against the man. I'm sure he's probably a decent guy who spent his entire life in the university, his entire life talking the talk and talking that rubbish that they talk about how bad the bourgeoisie is. We heard it all, Laura. He doesn't even know where he's coming from in the sense of the bigger society. The man has never created a service or a product that anybody ever wanted, ever.
Right.
So how can you know what it's?
Yeah.
No. So how can you know what it's like to build a business?
No, of course he has no idea. He knows what it's like to stoke tensions, and he knows how to exploit these differences, these demographic differences, and he knows how to leaflet on a street corner. That's what he knows how to do.